Being a poultry farmer, keeping village chickens and improved village chicken for the past 5 years, I have found a few ways how you can succeed in this poultry village chickens and improved village chickens. And if you're interested in any of those things, this is the right video for you. If anyone who is interested in poultry, please watch this video, I beg you, or watch this one. Because you are going to learn a lot, and once you start your chicken a project, you'll be able to be successful in no time. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing to this channel so that you won't miss any of my interesting videos like this one concerning chickens, improved village chickens, game fowls, rabbits, and ducks. So, as for me keeping these chickens, improved village chickens, game fowls, and so on, it is really interesting to me, and I'm enjoying everything here. Just watching how chickens are playing, just sitting and feeding and being around the chickens, heaven on earth. So, there are a few things that you will have to know before you start this project. Of course, some people they complain, no, I don't have capital. What capital? Well, you can start small and grow gradually. I started with just 3 hens, 1 cock. And I'm telling you, they can multiply like crazy. So, let's just give an example. Please pay attention to this, what I'm about to show you here. For example, if you want, you can start with 10 hens and 3 cocks. So how do you go about it? So that's the first thing, 10 hens, 3 cocks. So you are going to build a house, chicken house for those chickens. And when they are somewhere 14 to 18 weeks, you provide in laying nesting box. Then after that, the most important thing, please, you are going to need an incubator. Incubator, at least probably 200 capacity, that's very much enough. It's very good to start with. Always start small, don't start with, because if you maybe start with 100 chickens and you are not experienced and so on, and a lot of things can happen in this business. You can find your base in the elements or dead. You are going to experience a lot of things are going to happen, and one thing I can advise you, learn from anything that happens. If your chickens die because of Newcastle, learn why, how you can prevent that disease. If maybe there's safety, learn how to protect to apply biosecurity laws and how to protect your chickens. Anything that can happen, you can learn something, keep on improving every day, don't settle. Do not settle. So let's get back to the example. It's not just an example. You can start with you can make it real. So, for example, if I've got 10 hens, those 10 hens will lay 10 days. Each hen will lay maybe 9 or 8 days. So approximately, let's say if your hens lay maybe 250 eggs a month instead of 300, because they are 10, so 10 times 8, that is 300. So maybe some of them don't lay, because your chickens cannot lay continuously for 30 days. So they will start resting maybe 2 days or 3 days in a month. So for example, maybe I've got 250 eggs. So you take those eggs, maybe you just incubate 120. You take the eggs to the incubator, 120 eggs. In case some don't hatch, so we have a guarantee of 100 chickens to survive. And even if maybe 110 hatch, some are going to die. So the first month you maybe have 100 chickens. Second month, make sure take the eggs to the incubator every month. Incubate eggs every month, so that when the first batch matures, you continuously supply chickens every month. Every month you'll be supplying 100 chickens. Now multiply according to the currency in your country. And the price of one chicken times 100, like here, that is 100 kwacha. Let's just say 100 kwacha times 100. That is how much? That is 10,000 a month. Now 10,000 a month. You know, as a poultry farmer, you have to be creative. The expenses don't have to exceed the half of the amount you make. So if you make 10,000, at least the expenses on feed and other things should be around maybe 30% or 35%. So then the profit should be somewhere more than 50%. If you can able to do that, then you are making it big. Unlike broilers, a chicken that is improved chicken, they can eat anything, cheap stuff and so on. But for broilers, you have to use commercial feed, whether you like it or not. So it is very much hard to cut the cost of feed in broilers. But for this, you can feed them leftovers, broil on maize, sunflower cake, vegetables, and so on. Very much possible to cut the cost by 50%. So that's why I like this kind of chickens. Very easy to maintain. And when it comes to these chickens, you know, for broilers you only produce meat, and for layers only table eggs. But for village chickens or improved village chickens, you can sell eggs, fertilized eggs, at a very higher cost than the table eggs. Then you can sell day-old chicks, very much important. And if you decide to sell the day-old chicks, be cautious of inbreeding, because if you encourage inbreeding, your chicks are going to die. The mortality rate is going to be high. So make sure you press the cocks. If they were born together, you press the cocks to avoid inbreeding. Inbreeding is very much dangerous. The first disadvantage of inbreeding, your chicks will be stunted. They will not grow. The growth will be very poor. And the immune system, it will be very weak, so your chicks will die. The mortality rate will be very high. I'm talking from experience. Most of the chicks that are inbred, even the first week of their life, they can die like no man's business. So please avoid inbreeding at all costs. Avoid inbreeding. Make sure you press the cocks with we call it crossbreeding. So inbreeding is mating of birds of related birds. Maybe mother and uncle, mother and son, so on. That is inbreeding. But crossbreeding is mating of different between two birds that are not related. So that is crossbreeding. So make sure do the crossbreeding, not inbreeding. And the other thing I must avoid, maybe having the small numbers of chickens at once to sell. How can you raise this? If you start raising maybe 10, 20 chicks, 30 chicks, you raise them at different ages, you are not going to see any profit. They are going just to chop your food. So, avoid raising small numbers of chicks. Maybe at least start with 50, 100, 150, 200 at once, same age. And one thing, when the first batch goes, make sure spray the viral cure or some medicines to kill the viruses. In the same pen, I advise you to build maybe 3 brooders to brood your chickens, or 4 brooders. The first month you put them in this brooder, the second batch you put them in second brooder, then also the fourth bird, put them in a fourth brood and so on, just like that. Maybe at least 4 brooders. That way you are not going to carry any diseases. By the time that at least the brooder can stay for a month or 2 months before putting other chicks, your chicks will not die from any diseases. And coming of mixing, there's one thing that I've observed. If you mix, you keep the chickens of different ages, maybe 1 week old chicks with the day old chicks. The day old chicks who are going to die, they are going to starve to death because eating, they are not going to eat as those the big ones, so as a result they will starve. So at least when they are 2 months old, that's when you can mix them with the older chickens. But within 1 month old, please don't mix them. Just like growing when learning the guinea fowls, I learned it in a hard way. So I had almost 50 the guinea fowls. We call them kids. So again, the other bunch hatched almost 40, and I mixed them. The other one was 1 week old, then the other one day old. I lost all of those that were 1 day old. There is 40 of them, all of them I lost them just because of mixing them. They are not eating and so on. And there's other factors. When you mix the different breeds, it's very much difficult to control the diseases, because most of the diseases they attack the same. They target the age groups. So don't mix the chickens of different ages. Then the other thing, as you can see here, there is a duck. Duck, if chickens don't mix they don't have to sleep in the same house. The reason being is because ducks, they are disease carriers and guinea fowls. So they will carry the disease, but they will not get sick, and they will pass on to your chickens, and immediately your chickens will start dying 1 by 1. For example, Newcastle. Chickens are very difficult to, and guinea fowls, it is rare for them to die from Newcastle. Talking of ducks, they don't die from Newcastle. They have got their own disease, but they are disease carriers, virus carriers. Once you mix them, your chickens will all die without them being sick or showing any signs of sickness. They will just transfer the virus or the bacteria to your chickens. So don't mix this different species. If it is chickens, just keep chickens. If it is guinea fowls, just keep guinea fowls, and so on. That is advisable. But if you don't have space, you can mix them as I used to do. As you can see here, we have got ducks and guinea fowls as well. But it is not advisable because other species are disease carriers. And finally, you have to do your research. Do the market research. Know where you're going to sell your chickens. Don't just lay chickens anyhow. Know where you're going to sell your chickens. That's a very much important. Where you can take all your chickens and sell them. But I can assure you, for village chickens, market is everywhere. As for me, every time when I grow this, I rear these chickens to maturity age. Before they even reach maturity, they are finished. Just talk to the restaurants, owners, schools, and so on, even the public. When it is towards December, Christmas season, they buy a lot of chickens, and during weddings, and when got funerals, they buy a lot of chickens. So find out who is going to buy your chickens. If people don't buy your chickens, they only eat eggs, keep layers so that you'll be able to sell your product. Don't just go into this business without doing market research. And once you start doing, word of mouth is very much important. Post anything on social media. Don't just post the pictures of nothing, wasting your time scrolling and so on. You post your business, let everyone know what you are doing. And with no time, they will know that, oh, that person, immediately when you pass, they will just talk about your word. That person keeps chickens and so on. So immediately when they hear someone wants to buy chickens, they will direct them to you. Word of mouth is very much powerful. Immediately when they see someone, they will say, no, go to this person, go to this person.